Morning, welcome back. Got quite a lot of things to show you today. We got a lot going on in the shop. First of all, we got the Mini out here on its out on the trailer, ready to go to the paint shop. All the mock-up stuff is basically done on that, so it can go get painted. This other Mini here, blue one, it's got a D series in it. Going to be building a titanium exhaust for that. So started on the muffler already. Had some extra leftover pie cuts, so I'm using part of the pie cut, which is going to be coming off here. I got to trim this up to fit that diameter. Then we got some 2-inch, which is more than enough for a D series. That's not fully, well, it's a fresh rebuilt motor, but it's not like fully tuned. It's about 135 horsepower, so 2 inches more than enough. We've got the STI. This was in a while back for the carbon fenders, and the customer doesn't like how the carbon fenders were wider than the stock ones, and he's got stock rear fenders, so it just looked wider at the front, which was kind of odd. And we also just threw on a Voltex front bumper and Voltex side skirts. Fitment on the Voltex stuff is pretty sweet. It fit no problem, no trimming required, it just bolted on. And then the Colt Ralliart version R JDM Nugget is here, and I get to start some work on this thing. So I took the old tires off to put the new tires on, which are over here. And when I took the tires off, I was like, these wheels could do with a refresh. So I dropped the wheels off at the refinishing shop. They're gonna get blasted and repainted. They're Volk TEs, so I want them to look nice. So once I get those back, I can put the tires back on. I got my pile of mods over here. I gotta do all the suspension and stuff. But in the meantime, we're gonna just give it a slight tune up and get it to a point where I can drive it to the inspection facility, get it inspected for the province. And once it's inspected, then it can come back and we can start doing more of the mods. It's already modified a bit. It's got a ton of gauges in it. We got the triple stack in the middle. We got a EVCR HKS electronic valve control, and some def-I gauges on the side here, and a map switching thing. So yeah, and then these ugly seats, those are going to be coming out in place of the brids. Let's put this in the air. I pulled the front sway bar out because I got the Cusco unit, and the end link bushings were shot, so I haven't put the end links back on yet. I just picked up a new set of bushings for that. Putting the getting the sway bar out and putting the new one in was a bit of a pain. You got to drop the subframe slightly, and one of the bolts for the sway bars is a bit tricky to get to. There's just not a lot of room. All right, car's in the air, and there's our front sway bar. And I just got to get the end links on here. So I went and bought a generic energy suspension sway bar end link stuff, and those are the end links there. But this car's pretty solid. There's no rust. It's really clean underneath. Like, from Japan, having a car this clean. I mean, it's only a 2008. It's the first, or sorry, 2008 is the 15-year rule. Like, we can only get cars that are 15 years old into Canada from Japan. So this car is exactly 15 years old to the month, which is good. So yeah, super fresh, super clean. It's got all these tow hooks and stuff. I mean, that's gonna have to come off, and that's gonna have to get painted or whatever, but that's kind of ugly. I've got the Cusco rear sway bar, which bolts on under the spring perches. So got to bolt that on. We got a YR Advance muffler, and it's just like straight pipe basically all the way to the front. We got a, don't know if that's going to be a cat or a resonator. I'm guessing it could be just a secondary cat, and then we got the first cat, so we don't need both. One of those is coming out, and it's probably going to be this front one because the pipe tapers down at the top here, and it's pretty small. And then if we can get up in here, you can see we got a Turbo Smart internal wastegate, and we've got some Samco hoses. We got a billet aluminum torque arm for the engine to stop the engine rocking. Some of the stuff I had already bought, not realizing it was already on the car, so that's pretty cool that it's already on there. So we got some spares where I can sell them or whatever. I hate these red mud flaps. These are coming off. I got black ones going on, and these are too rigid anyway. I like the floppy ones better. And I got to get a PDR guy to come in and just work that dent out. It's not a huge one, but get it sorted. And then the car is going to be wrapped. I haven't decided yet. It's either going to be white, Nardo of some sort, maybe like a darker Nardo, or blue. So leave a comment if you know what color I should do. We've got endless brake pads on here, braided lines, slotted rotors, and the rear has upgraded bigger rotors, and you can see it's got these mounts which relocate the caliper, and it even comes with a little dust shield, which is kind of cool. So I'm gonna get on to modifying this thing, and I'll catch up with you soon. This is cool. So you got these long pieces for the captive nuts. So goes in this hole, and then you feed it through, and you line it up, and it locks in perfectly right there. It's kind of neat how they do that. Let's just line you back up and get the brackets on. Let's move on to the rear sway bar and get that in. Might have messed that up. I think I got to put the bar on first. It's got to slide over these studs, so one side might have to come out again. Sway bars on. Pretty simple little kit. So it's a nice little Cusco unit, and as you can see, fits perfect. All right, on to the next thing. Just working on the mud flaps. Red is so ugly, so picked up some Rally armor. Just tracing out the holes using a nice little punch them out. It's got the other back one to do. Try that again. The battery just ran out, but working on the window trims. As you can see, they're pretty ugly and pitted. Some of them are good, some of them are gross. I use these 3M foam sanding pads. Super fine and fine. I always start with the fine, obviously, go to the super fine, and this is after, so this is only like a couple minutes, and then hit it with some polish after. But as you can see, it's a good way to restore your window trims back to new. So I'm just gonna go all around, do all the trims. As you can see on the back here, as you might not see on the back here because the light is pretty bad. Get in there and see how rough and gross that is. So we'll get in there, we'll clean that all up, and then I'll show you the after, which should look like that. Alrighty. Alright, the driver's side's done. Seals look all nice and refreshed. Gotta get onto the passenger side now, which is horrible. See how crusty these things are, so bring it back to life. Alright, so I've been through the car. We've gave it a clay bar and a little bit of a wax and cleaned up all the trims, so everything's looking pretty good. This is all the stuff we've taken out. JDM radio, no good here, and then a bunch of gauges and just a bunch of crap. The toll collection device, there's dash cam, just a bunch of shit I'm not going to use. There's one gauge I will use, and there's also the electronic valve controller HKS unit. So I've cleaned up the dash. I basically ripped everything apart. All the gauges were taped up on the top of the dash. They were up here, they were over here. So with the radio delete, I made this little panel here, kept the exhaust gas temp and the boost controller. So turn that on, see all that stuff come up. This is flashing, I don't know why, I gotta figure that out. Got a Razzo shift knob that came with the car. And then these are my Kansai service floor mats that I picked up, brand new. So dash is looking good, everything is connected as it should be, so happy with that. And on to engine stuff. Catch up with you in a bit. the old intercooler out. We got the new intercooler mounted. Did a bunch of pipe work. Unfortunately, this aluminum, that's the aluminum pipe kit I got. The aluminum's pretty crap and doesn't weld very good, so I just had to use extra couplers, which is no big deal, but I'd much rather have it welded and a less amount of couplers. Here's the intercooler. This is a Mitsubishi. So it's just a simple L bracket that's bolted through, and we got this extra rib here, so this is quite strong. It's not going anywhere. This is the old one, and as you can see, it's pretty small. I mean, that's my hand, right? So it's tiny compared to this thing here, which is quite big. And then tubing just wraps around, goes up to the top, and then on the bottom I had to modify this lower pipe, so I made that, a couple tigs, a couple clamps, and there you go. And now gotta cut the bumper up to fit the core. So let's get this bumper cut and mounted. All right, bumper's cut up and installed. So pretty nice fitment there. Looks good. And then what's next on my list? Probably suspension. So front and rear coilover install will be up next. All right, catch you tomorrow. Just working on the Colt. Got a couple more things done on it. This is all done off camera. I'll get the camera on when I do the coilovers, but this is pretty easy stuff. So let's get a flashlight. Installed a Cusco brake master cylinder stopper, so that's just firms up the pedal. I mean, the pedal's already firm, but it stops the firewall from flexing when you're hard on the pedal. Just gonna raise up the car. I did a little bit of exhaust work. The front part of the exhaust was like 1.8 inches, and the rear section was already modified, and it was like 60 mil or 2.36 inches. So I just made it 2.36 all the way back. The car has a custom manifold and a performance downpipe already. So if you look under here, did the this front pipe, which goes to a flex joint, and then I had some titanium kicking around, so I did a titanium mid pipe, and then that connects here to the already aftermarket rear section. So again, 2.36 all the way through. The only choke down is right here because it has one of those donut gaskets. I couldn't run the bigger diameter all the way through because the donut's too small. So in the future I'll probably change this out, maybe put just a regular flex joint in there, but for now that works. And then lower this back down. I did a little bit on the inside. Down it comes. It's a very slow hoist when you got a light car on it. It takes forever to come down. Whee! Coming down. So this box here should give you a bit of an idea of what's gone in, and the crap that's come out. Glad I did this actually, because the stock steering wheel wasn't in there nice and tight. It was actually loose. So the previous owner had a steering wheel in here and obviously took it out when he sold the car. I got to install this still. I got a aluminum dead pedal cover, and then here's the steering wheel. This is a full-on gritty unit. It's awesome. It's got different colored stitching around it to match their logo colors. This is a 340 mil and it's pretty deep dish. And I've got the airbag light diodes in there, or resistors, so no airbag light or anything. Horn works. Everything functions as it should and looks fucking dope. And that'll be it for this episode. Next time we'll catch up. We'll get the wheels back, get the tires mounted, get the suspension in, and we'll go from there. See you in the next one. Like and subscribe. Cheers.